Voices in the Wilderness: How Displacement Leaves Batwa Women and Girls Silenced, Exposed and Forgotten. The Batwa in Bundibugyo district, western Uganda, were evicted in 1993 when the Ugandan government gazetted Semlik National Park. The park's creation led to their forced removal from ancestral forest lands without compensation or settlement. That displacement shattered their livelihoods, culture, and access to basic services, leaving lasting scars on for generations. Today, 168 Batwa live in two small camps in the Bundibugyo district, 15 families in the Bundibasoli camp, Ntandi Town Council, and 12 families in Karambi Community Hub. A total of just 27 families struggling to survive. Sida Oliver recalls bitterly that government evicted them from their ancestral land, dumped them there without shelter, food, or land.
Government inetuyai ituleta kuni atika kuwa government inetuyira yatu ya matongo yatuletene mara kutuletene yatu na giriji yara kana kule na kutuyamba yetu mabale ngenue motu yambage.
She disclosed that they are not benefiting from any government program like the Parish Development Model PDM and others. For many Batwa women, displacement meant more than losing a home. It meant losing dignity, safety, and control over their lives. Tabitha Janet, married for 20 years, with 4 children, laments, in the forest there was peace and no diseases, but here their men have sexual affairs with their community members, spreading HIV/AIDS. She adds that when they report domestic violence, police ask for money which they do not have. Her story echoes a national crisis. According to Afrobarometer Research 2005 to 2022, public mistrust of Uganda's police rose from 10% to 37%, with corruption concerns increasing from 67% to 75%. Annette Vambireji describes that other women run businesses, but Batwa just sit in the camp doing nothing, going into the forest for firewood, sell it as much as 1,000, 2,000 to buy food. She added that whenever they try to join government programs, they are insulted by calling them drunkards and refuse to give them support. Muhira Florence, a widow, pleads for inclusion. She's suffering to look after her children, facing discrimination, and has never benefited from any of the government programs. She observed a need of economic empowerment so as their children can get education and a better future.
Abana baitu basome bareke kutanga mubasaija urara mundongo baba tware hara baende basome nga haro huku tureke kubarora hane hai biana batanga po hala bagende hara na baba tunge mulimo na tusemererwe imona wa wasomere etu tuli kuoka tali mwana wasomere hani mu Batwa hani busai wakwebembera Batwa tali obusai.
The minority rights group in its September 3rd, 2021 report welcomed the court ruling directing compensation for Batwa communities evicted from Ngahinga, Bwindi and Chua forests. However, Batwa individuals were excluded, deepening their suffering. Masika Harriet says that married women face a lot of violence as their men spend a lot of time drinking alcohol, gambling, and fighting. She reveals that police ignores their cases as they asked for money, so they decided to stay silent.
Batuandika hano amabaraganu wa buri muntu nabase barale batwara bipapuro kama baraga ituo ibibulirayo oza mamba ija hano batuandika baitu bibulirayo bagamba mbukwezi tugaruka na saa zima tugena polisi ukora kimano amayitu bya polisi tukabyeganira nakakuba no gena polisi bakumayo.
Lillian Maska, a younger mother, narrated how she has been looking for jobs but failed to find any after men got them pregnant and ran away. She asked for support and training in handwork skills like hairdressing and tailoring so as to take care of their children and educate them.
Ntusere emilimo nebula ntwenda kugana kukolera ku bantu beto emilimo nekolaki neibula ntukala nukonka abasajja bakatutweka twazala abana betu sazira abasajja tibali neitwe ati nogenzele kuli nokole emilimo yawe no yamba mwana wao.
Kabugo Goret, 19-year-old mother, says that they also need to be skilled in tailoring, hairdressing and other hands work. Edreda Ndingoli, founder of the Batwa Women Community Initiative, said that has been tirelessly advocating for their rights. She has talked, traveled, and seen how Batwa are treated elsewhere, but in their district, they are treated like they are not human.
Hana manga gona ngarubakire yona atigaire kugenda ali na bajungu kandi nimpikayo abya bigambo bya Batwa nibaje kulungi kuli ali na bajungu kyonka nchima abajungu batukojere kulungi batu government tinkalojere nenjwe nakini bushayi ekyatuombekere abajungu nibo nibareka mtuvu abantu abajungu nibo batali mkutu wa kitinisa kyamani.
She added that their girls are raped, defiled, infected with HIV, and their children uneducated. They are discriminated against in every government office. She says NGOs and foreigners have been their only source of help.
Ati obuturugira mukibira twalola ensonga kyamani mubana baitu mukibira omwana wa bukaji wa omutu tabaire na lwala shirini bushayi tabaire mba muhamba bushayi abaire kulungi ati obuturugire mukibera ati bana baitu batandika kukotangana na bashaija ati bakotangana na bashaija abanje batandika kubaamba kubadomadomesha hao na bana bandi ati bashaija bali mukubashisha ati batatusomera kulungi ati naito bana Batwa ntushara bana baitu bakuleki basome abana baitu bareke kuikala mbaka karamba batanga takulina mugaza.
Nzito Geoffrey, the Batwa king, narrated how they used to live in Mathoro forest in the Democratic Republic of Congo DRC, then moved to Semlik forest where there was food and many wild animals. He added that they stayed there until the NRA war chased them closer to the community. Then they were completely pushed out. He made it clear that they were never compensated or settled. NGOs built the shelters where they are living in, and he appreciated the Ugandan government for allowing a foreigner to help them.
Mtu kiegonja batandika akutusara abanje akutusara ije bado nibo mtu twaija obumporampo twaika aihi na rugudi nibo utulojere omuzungu mbamweta adwa kuchapumani ni akabanja kutuyanka mukibiro atali government busayo ati muzungu aikire hali utuli haina rukuze agambe ati Batwa inywe obule mbubo mupaka kandi inywe numufwa okube ngoku nayo ndozeli yini na inywe molinga mga itu leka ngemba gulire ekiki naka itaka omujungu ogu akojele aija atupangishira nka bonde masoli hano kupangisha atuombekelao nanka obujugu bwa mabati eruguru hali twaikala bulemo mtakula bado gabumende nyo mkubaze kwa nunu bibyona beba batuombekele hano bado iyo government ito mgaishe bado ntumusimilao akantu katoito ngo omujungu na luka helu na banja kuika nka ofisi nka a district na saidi ngao ngo kuna nagonza kukolera bado nyowe mukora nganyowe kingi government tekakwiraga omuntu aitaka government takaombekeraga omuntu majunga ngeno busayo.
He asked the government to support his women with the startup capital for businesses and ensure their children access quality education. He added that he should be recognized like other kings, and government put him on monthly salary, adding that the park should also be given their own percentage of the forest revenue.
Government ekojele abakaji abaye sende eja business government ni musaba mnganyowe mga kingi batalike na yowe kumpa salary ngoko abakugenda abakuaga abagenzi bange salary government ni ngonza nabo batuweke basomese abana abayiti obunakindi ni ngonza paka etandike kutua pasenta ikuluga nka ikuluga obumupaka adinga ababaire obumupaka ababigaine obunapaka abo mbatungaga sente batu itwe ngabatwa kani tukaikilijana ababaire mupaka ababaire baikalayo na bituro bya babao babishika batu na itwe ngaitwe batwa pasenta busayo.
According to Baliegera Julius, Batwa community spokesperson, the community people impregnate their children and abandon them. Teenager pregnancies are high, hunger is killing them, and police do not help. He adds that they cannot contest for leadership positions. They have no land for farming. Toilets are full, worried of their lives as they may contract a deadly disease outbreak.
Abatu bazaire bachare abana bato abesonga government ko eter government police ni government uti baramuka kovu bakuhandolinga songa zetu kurungi kakwa tuzitwara mu government bakotusa kuhandolinga kandi ngaito abatwa tuna vizibu ekindi kizibu itwe nkabatwa so kugamba ntinatu twesimba aba chairman LC one obunde chairman LC free government katikiriza so nabanti negi ne challenge ya mani bizibu twine hano ne kindi kizibu twine hano abazungu bakatuombekera amaju baitu tunamba tukulimira tuna nechinde vyoroni tutuine vikumara tuna vyoroni bibiri kandi sazino kurora yona bikamara kwijura hatuso sazino endware kakuba nzija notangana anti community notangana yone wire ababizibu nkebi.
Hilda Charity, town agent for Bundumasole ward, says the Batwa are aggressive, drunkards, and refuse to go to school. She revealed that they have given 3 of them PDA money and still monitoring how they are investing that money.
We've given so far 3 people. That is a Dreader, Grace, and this other boy that I've come with. So those people, we are trying to monitor them on the program on the money that we gave them for PDM. So if we don't say anything, we can't, of course we cannot go back and give them money for PDM because these are people who love drinking. So when you go for assessment in Batwa, you cannot even assess a person to be given money to go and do a business. They don't do businesses. When you give them money, they go and drink. They do silly things that you cannot understand. You sit with them, they cannot adhere with what you've told them. You've provided schools to them, they don't go to school, they refuse. You tell them to go to the health centers when they are sick, they don't go there. They say they have their herbals, the herbal they use, so they refuse totally. And we have free medication in Masoli ward. That is Intandi Health Center 3.
Kabaginyi Sarah, activist and founder of Bundubujo Women with Disabilities Living with the HIV/AIDS Association BWADA, says that Batwa women suffer discrimination and marginalization like women with disabilities. She said that when they report cases to police, they are asked for money they do not have, leading to injustice. Community members even say they smell badly. She has handled 4 cases, 2 defilement and 2 gender-based violence, and referred them to the community development officer and police.
The Batwa women and the girls are too much discriminated. The community, they have negative attitudes towards them. Even themselves, they have negative attitude towards themselves. But I found that whenever they get some GBV in their community, you find that even the police, they don't bother even to listen to them. It was 4 of them, unwanted pregnancy 2, then GBV 2. It is what I have been handling and counseling. I was doing only counseling because whenever, even if I wanted to take it to police, the police, they will ask me the money. When also my organization, they are not funded to any NGO, so we just counsel them to see that they get harm in their GBV.
Peter Gaira Justus, Senior Education Officer, admits education among Batwa children is dire. He disclosed that the best educated Mutwa is a senior 3 dropout, and this is attributed to violence at home, alcoholism, and begging are destroying their future.
The best Mutwa who is educated is a senior 3 dropout who acts as their spokesperson. One of the reasons why, despite the existence of schools nearby, we have Sudia, we have Mutandi Primary, and even it has integrated for the Adventist. There is a lot of violence at the home. They are fighting, they are drunk 24 hours, those drug. So the environment under which the child is cannot allow this child. In fact, they also get up to the same behavior.
AIP Cab from 5, officer in charge of the Family and Child Protection Unit, Bundubujo District, says that they have never received any cases from Batwa and police do not charge for reports. And anyone asking for money should be reported.
If you have come to report, nobody can request money from you. Entering this entry, you are called what, who, you are coming from, where, how old is he, then he said that you give him money. That one is not there. If someone requested that you give me money, you quote him, discrimination cannot work. And for us, we have come here to work for everybody. But the bad thing, they are not reporting. Let them try one day. They come and report, they see our reaction.
Kajoba Harriet Rwakabira, Principal Human Rights Officer, Rwenzori Region, Uganda Human Rights Commission, emphasizes that Batwa are human beings entitled to all rights and they face limited access to justice, education, and health care. As UHRC has engaged ministries, leaders, and all stakeholders to include them in national planning, as the movement says, leaving no one behind.
They shouldn't be looked as an option, and they shouldn't look at them being minority and them being few in numbers and them being uneducated in the status they are, and then they are left out in the planning. Actually, one of the engagements the Commission has had with the Minister of Gender was promised that they are going to engage up to the district level, even to the lowest leadership structures, to ensure that these people are involved in planning, such that their plights can be handled and their needs met as much as can be. We have also interacted with them. We have sensitized them for them to get to know about their rights, their basic rights and freedoms. We have engaged with the communities around them, that they also deserve respect just like any other human being.
Bashir Hangi, Assistant Commissioner for Public Relations at the Uganda Wildlife Authority, UWA, explains that Semlik National Park was gazetted in 1993. Some people had to vacate for conservation, as the government looks at the greater good biodiversity protection. He adds that UWA operates under the Uganda Wildlife Act Cap 315 and allows regulated access to resources. There is a memorandum of understanding with the Batwa to collect fruits, firewood, and herbs on specific days.
Semlik National Park was gazetted in 1993, and of course there are people who are staying there. And once a place is gazetted as a protected area, the human beings who are there definitely have to give way for conservation. So upon its gazettement, the Batwa, some of the people were staying there, and they had to give way for conservation. So, and of course, there is a law for government. There is a law on land acquisition. There are regulations, and these can be accessed in the Ministry of Lands. And also, we also have a wildlife policy in the country, which guides how we conduct activities that relate to wildlife conservation. When a place is being considered for gazettement, government looks at a bigger picture. Government doesn't look at specific individuals or a group of persons. Government is looking at a greater good. So what is good for all, not a given group. So in this case, the biggest consideration really is protecting nature, biodiversity, ensuring that the place becomes a good habitat for wildlife conservation, but not considering specific individuals of rather groups of persons who are in this particular area. Yes, of course, you have to make sure that you consider where will they go. I mean, now you want them to give way for conservation. Where do you want them to go? So those are some of the considerations that government make. But from a broader perspective, and which is the approach of government anyway, a government looks at something big. What's the bigger implication for the country, for the area, for the region? But you know that the Batwa communities were resettled. And even compensation itself, if you remember ADRA reached out to these guys, and quite a number of them were compensated. That's one. Two, even later on, you know that the houses were built for them, but they refused to stay in these houses. They were saying that when it rains, because the roofs were iron sheets, they were complaining that when it rains, the iron sheets make a lot of noise. And when it is hot, the houses become too hot. So they refused to stay in the houses and decided to go and stay outside these houses. So the houses were there, but more of a white elephant project because they did make use of them. Our approach is guided by a law. Okay, the Uganda Wildlife Act, Cap 315, and that's what guides us. Everything we do, if you read this law, it does not mention any of these people we're talking about. However, we make sure that all activities that we do benefit these particular people. We also have what we call the Regulated Resource Access Program, where communities neighboring our protected areas, regardless of whether they are Batwa or not, they have access to these protected areas. Okay? But once a place is a protected area, it means it is not free entry and exit. So entry is restricted, entry is regulated. So to answer the question, yes, the Batwa access the park, they access the forest to harvest certain resources that they want to harvest. But of course, like I said, this is regulated. So we don't stop them, only that they don't go there as and when they wish. There are specific days that we put in place. We sign MOUs with communities to go to these protected areas. They access firewood, medicines, etc. And if you go in places where we have such minority groups, like if you go to Windy or Mugahinga, you realize that even we have allowed them to do some projects inside the forest. For example, the Bata Trail in Mugahinga. If you go to Windy, we have the Windy Batwa cultural experience inside the park. Okay, so the Batwa are allowed. So are other community members, so long as they adhere to the regulations and the days that are put in place for them to access the forest and access the resources that they need to get from there.
Hangi noted that UWA gives 20% of tourism revenue to neighboring communities by building schools, opening roads, health centers, and clean water for drinking. He highlights that they want to see the Batwa integrating, not remain isolated. They are Ugandans who must participate in national development.
We give 20% of our gate collections to the communities neighboring these protected areas. We do enterprise development. We have seen us build health facilities, classroom blocks. We have opened up roads. We have provided water, fresh water for drinking to communities. We are supporting community developed projects to ensure that we uplift their standards of living, to ensure that we contribute to the wellness of their livelihoods, lifting them from a low to a high indifference curve, so that in line with National Development 4, we are able to achieve socio-economic transformation of government. What we want, and what government wants, is to see the Batwa participating in the national development. We want to see their children go to school. We want to see them access better health facilities. We want to see them participate in the leadership of their country. Being LCs, they cannot do that when they are in the forest. We do not have any negotiations with anybody right now. We are doing conservation work, but we are working with all stakeholders, the Batwa and non-Batwa. We are working very closely with them because we need them. We need their support. We cannot conserve alone. Our model is that of working very closely with the communities. So Batwa or not Batwa, we work very closely with them and want them to support us and we save Mother Nature. We want them to support us and protect the heritage of this country, the wildlife heritage of our country.
On 23rd March 2023, the minority rights group again called on the Ugandan government to formally recognize all ethnic minorities and indigenous people in the constitution, warning that lack of recognition has caused statelessness, loss of culture, and denial of rights. Legal recognition, they said, would enable access to education, health care, employment, and social protection. The Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development oversees protection of vulnerable groups, including the Batwa, promoting equality, empowerment, and social inclusion. Yet for Bundubujo's Batwa women, that promise remains distant. After decades of displacement, the Batwa of Bundubujo remain alienated from their own land. Women suffer violence, children drop out of school, and families live in poverty while the forest that once fed them is fenced off in the name of conservation. Their stories echo across Uganda, a plea for recognition, justice, and dignity. Batwa are not asking for much, only to live, work, and be treated like other Ugandans. Story compiled by Goret Kajumba.